What it was like to be sequestered with that group, the playoff committee, for such a long time, and all your deliberations. I know you can't reveal everything that went on, but how much harder was the decision this year than it was last year?
Well, first of all, it was a great experience. And I've said a number of times that of all the committees I've ever served on, this one is head and shoulders above any of them, from the way that the preparation of all the other committee members has been, and the ability to come into that room knowing what you need to talk about, and there's a real air of camaraderie there that while you may be on different sides of Team A, there's a pro side and a con side, no one really takes it personally. You just go in there and talk about the facts. It's always good to be out of the room because that means they're talking about you, and this time it was very early in the conversation, so that's a positive. But all in all, it's an incredible committee. Bill Hancock and his group do a wonderful job of giving us the tools that are necessary, given everyone's busy schedules, to get the data together and be able to have good, productive conversations.
And by the way, I would add, I'm really proud of Dan to serve on that committee. That's a who's who committee. If you're on that committee, it's a big deal. It represents the university well. It's good for us nationally, so I appreciate your service.
Thank you.
I know you're losing a couple of members, Barry Alvarez, Conji Rice, for next year. How much?
And Bobby Johnson.
And Bobby Johnson. How much will those relationships go on in the future?
Well, I think Condoleezza, I know this doesn't come as any shock to anyone, she probably said it best, that these are friendships that will be there for life. And one of the things, this committee's taken a lot of cues from the basketball committee. And each and every year at the Final Four, people who've served on the basketball committee come together the Sunday before the final game. And they have a dinner and they reminisce. And we're going to do the same thing as a committee. So while we may not be in the same room together for those 6 weeks, but we'll have a chance to come together and see each other at least once a year.
You invited me to that dinner last year before the national championship
That's right.
game, right? It was good. Great group.
President Clements, let's go back 5 years when you were celebrating on the field at the Orange Bowl with Coach Holgerson. Could you have fast forwarded this amount of time and seeing a new facility out here like this, the things that are going on at Clemson, the way athletics are going, and that you would be a part of that?
Well, I'm honored to be a part of it. I'll tell you what, I think from top to bottom, from Dan Radakovich to Dabo Sweeney, all the way down, we've got the best in the business. And I'm honored to be here at such a great place. It's a place where we always wanted to be. I love my time in Morgantown. I love WVU, always will. Clemson special. And to see what is happening here, not only athletically, academically, research, fundraising, facilities, this is a great time right now, so I'm thrilled.
And let me just say that he was very kind in those comments. It does start at the top. We have great support from the president, our board of trustees, allowing us to do the things that you see, a couple hundred yards away inside the stadium and over at Littlejohn. Those things we have a lot of great ideas in athletics. I know that surprises many of you that we have great ambitions and ideas, but we have to make sure that they're saleable and they fit into the mission of the institution, and that's where President Clements really helps.
And from each of your perspectives, what does it mean to be able to build something like that with private gifts?
You hit a key term. Yeah, private gifts, sponsorships,
right.
Ticket sales, but private gifts have made a big difference. And the building that you see going on in athletics matches the building that we're trying to do all around the campus. You look at the new core campus facility, the Watt Family Innovation Center. We opened 2 new buildings in Charleston, new building in Greenville. It's happening all over for us. So this fits right in with our strategic view. We want the best, most competitive facilities academically, athletically.
And if we're going to build anything, it's going to be private dollars. I mean, that's just how our model works here through IPTE and capital fundraising. That's the only way that we're able to build it.
I'll tell you what, we're thankful for that, Dan. Dan, you and your team, Davis Babb and others, we've had record-breaking years, year after year after year. So it's good people stepping up to help us.
Dan, there's been a lot of debate about scheduling and in terms of the playoff and making the playoff, whether you should schedule tougher or easier out-of-conference games. Your philosophy has always seemed to be to schedule a tough non-conference game in addition to your natural rivalry with South Carolina. But how has your experience on that committee influenced your philosophy at all in that regard?
Well, it's really just solidified our model because we see how important it is. And to play a another Power 5 school in addition to South Carolina. We have 4 non-conference games. It's important for us, I think, in the state to make sure that we play one of the FCS schools in the state. That's really good for not only those programs, but for the state of South Carolina. And then we go out and find another school, group of 5 possibly, to come in and play. But those 2 Power 5 games are very important for us. And it really has been the scheduling philosophy here at Clemson for a while. And when I came from my other school, we'd had the same scheduling philosophy, so there was really no change.
I have to ask this about going to the Fiesta Bowl and the college football playoff. And talking to Graham last year, I know some of the expenses that you have to outlay to make a trip like that, but can you get that money back, or can you put a value on what it means to make an appearance like this? Is there a dollar value that you can put on the advertising that you get out of a trip like this?
It's tough to do. Probably, we'll probably know now what last year's event brought in for us as it relates to new donations and other things. This just keeps that momentum going. So it's really about extending the brand of Clemson University and Clemson Athletics and Clemson football. Those pay untold dollars to us.
And I would say there's a direct correlation to the fact that we have all-time high admissions, all-time high enrollment, all-time high fundraising, even gifts that go to certain colleges like engineering and business. Our success in athletics helps. So the trips to the college football playoffs and others, the university benefits in a lot of ways.
We speculate a lot to both of you. We speculate a lot about the ways in which athletics feeds academics and vice versa. Where do you see that relationship in terms of, I guess, which one's the tail wagging the dog, or whatever you want to
Hey, well, we're an academic institution. We just happen to have great athletics, and we're really proud of that. And you heard Dabo say earlier, student athletes graduate, but they're students first. They're student athletes. I can tell you in the last couple of football games, we announced our biggest gift ever, a gift in kind from Siemens Corporation, and I had the president and CEO of Siemens with me at the football game. A week or two before that, we had the president and CEO of GE, Jeff Immelt, with us. And those gifts go to academics. So we're an academic institution. Our student athletes, I shook a whole bunch of hands yesterday at graduation. They graduated. Some of them will go on to play. Others will go off and be successful in life or in a business career. So we have a very healthy mix here.
Athletics exists in its purest form to create events to allow the campus to showcase itself. That's what we are. We are that. We're not a business, okay? We all know that. But if we were, we would be the marketing arm. And getting our name out and having events where people could come in and understand a lot more about the institution.
By the way, a year or two ago, when we were winning football games and I was traveling a little bit with the team, and some of my events, I would say, hey, if I mention Clemson and the number 4, what do you think? And everyone will say Deshaun Watson. And I said, let me give you another number. We had 4 Goldwater scholars last year. That's the most you can have. And only a couple other schools like Stanford and MIT had 4 Goldwater scholars. So it is a way also to promote the success of it.
Dan, I'm sure you're aware of the Wake Forest situation, and you can add to this if you like, President Clements. But I was just curious, what is your opinion on how far the obligation goes on a program that receives, information, something like that? Because I've heard both arguments. Some people have said that it's not their responsibility to blow the whistle, and other people say that there's an ethical standard and obligation. But what's your philosophy on that?
Personally, I think there is an ethical obligation. I mean, in the ACC, we have sportsmanship rules that are there. There's not one specific rule about this specific incident, but it's kind of covered under the sportsmanship obligation. So I think if you get substantive information, I mean, you have to understand, coaches all know each other. So, hey, boy, they're pretty good on defense, or, oh, their defensive line's great. That's not substantive. But if you get substantive information, I think that there's an ethical obligation to move forward with it. And I know our league is going to do the right thing. They're going to continue to investigate that. Both the president and I have had conversations with Commissioner Swafford, and it's something that they're looking at right now, and hopefully in the very, very near future they'll be able to close the loop on it.
And I know Joe maybe released a little bit of a statement the other day, but you're confident Clemson not involved in that in any way?
Yes.
Everybody good?